everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
I'm JD.
Yes, and of course, John is not here this week, so we had to go to the Geek World All-Stars bench and pull in the one, the only, Joey DiCarlo from So Wizard. How you doing, sir?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joey from the So Wizard podcast, and I am thrilled to be here, guys.
Yes, you have a regular job, so you can do this at night now.
I know this is crazy. It was my first day at my new job today, so I worked a regular shift, and I've been home for a few hours. I don't even know what to do with myself. So.
Congrats on the new job, man.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, John's face goes on the back of a milk carton.
Okay, wait, hold on. I want to say this before we go into. So last week he was genuinely sick. This week he actually had a family commitment, so he couldn't make it. This is not like Smooth from Fans on Patrol, where he just wasn't on, and then all of a sudden he's not on the show anymore.
It's like the sister from Family Ties that went up to a room to do homework and never came back for the rest of the series.
The older brother on Happy Days.
That's right. It just disappears.
just went upstairs.
I forgot about that.
A lot of people did.
You're supposed to get a text from Dave that's from John that said, "I have to go now. My planet needs me."
No, he will be back next week. I promise. JD might not be here, but John will be here.
I'll be here.
Week. Oh, okay.
John's shaving his head right now. He's busy.
Poochie O'Grady.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing, you know. John's not here to defend his hatred of bald people.
So we got Joey. That's perfect.
Yeah,
steering right into the skin.
All right. So how is everyone's week, Joey? How is you love your new job? Is you loving life?
Yeah, everything's great, man. I just, going to the gym a lot, working my new job. I had a week off in between jobs, so I was really just hanging out at the house and watching TV, watching movies. I actually went to the movies on Friday. I saw Spiral, which is coming up on our show this week. And just been maxing, relax, and having a good time.
Cool. And how is your sleeping? Because you go from third shift to a regular 9 to 5.
The first couple of days of the week in between, I was up for almost 30 hours, like trying to correct my sleep schedule. And at this point, I'm fine, other than I still wake up around 4 a.m. just for a few minutes, and my body's like, "Hey, it's lunchtime," and I'm like, "No, it's time to go back to bed." So
yeah, I can't imagine. Thankfully, I've never had to work third shift.
Yeah, it's not bad. You get used to the grind. So,
how about you, JD?
Same old. Back in wrestling is in full swing.
Yeah,
I was on the I was in Wisconsin Dells all day yesterday coaching, which is different. Wisconsin's a very different state than Illinois. So I was in a domed arena where apparently the pandemic was over, because nobody gave a crap. So I was like, oh, okay, when in Rome. Yeah, just busy trying to get stuff ready to go for this new Kickstarter, as far as getting ready to fulfill the rewards and whatnot.
Right.
And I'm writing 2 little short stories, and yeah, that's about it. Writing articles, staying busy. I don't watch TV, and I got the maniacal 5-year-old. So
yeah, I can see.
Yeah, that's cool. How are you?
How am I? I'm doing all right. I had an interesting week. I'll leave it at that. I actually guessed it on the Gorilla Brain podcast yesterday. It was a last minute kind of thing.
How'd that go?
Well, it's for the live stream for The Cure. Joey, help me out. Who does the live stream? My mind just went.
It's Nick, who used to be on Epic Film Guys, and now he has his own podcast called Nikolai's Kitchen.
Oh, okay, there you go. So they do it every year. It's like 24 hours of podcasting, and it's to raise money for cancer research.
Pretty cool.
And we were going to do it this year, and I completely forgot to sign us up. So Ray from Gorilla Brain said, "Hey guys, come on! I need to fill 45 minutes, and I don't want to do it by myself." So me and Joey Montego from Fans of Patrol and Anna from the Prison Power podcast, we all jumped on, and we talked about things that could not be made today, that were popular when they came out.
Yeah, live stream from The Cure is the 19th through the 23rd of this month. It's on Twitch live, and it's content creators and podcasters going live as part of a marathon, and people can donate to fight cancer.
Yes.
Shooting for $15,000 this year. So
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a cause I strongly believe in. So, obviously, our listeners know at this point. So yeah, that was yesterday. That was kind of like a last minute thing, and then I feel like I've been busy, but I've done nothing.
I feel you.
I could not sit down and read Truth. So we'll do it next week. Like, I just started reading it, and then I just couldn't. I hate digital comics, people. I hate them. I'm old. Give me a tactile book. That's why I ordered your book, JD, as a book, not the digital download.
I appreciate it. I make more money off the digital download, but profit margins are bigger because it's an email as opposed to having to shop through Amazon. So selfishly, I appreciate your money.
Of course. You know who else appreciates our money? Our fans.
I thought you were going to say HBO Max.
Oh, God. Well, we'll get into that. Oh, my God. That's insane, I think.
Such a last-minute email might have derailed the whole show.
Yes. No, but we can get into a little social media madness because we didn't do it last week. We got a lot of comments on that episode, by the way. We'll get into that.
I'm curious. I'm very curious. That was very, very much a format-breaking episode. For me, my internet actually broke 4 or 5 times.
Yes. A friend of mine was actually listening to it and kept texting me while she was listening to it and was like, oh, there goes JD again.
Yep.
So let's start with, we reviewed Mortal Kombat, and I just loved this tweet, and it's more of a visual joke, which it works great on a podcast, but
watch the YouTube, people.
Well, see, I'm not even displaying the tweet.
Oh, never mind then. So we're cool.
Cameron,
don't even try.
Yeah,
don't even try.
Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse said, as a diehard MK fan, I cried, I laughed, I was on the edge of my seat. The entire movie was cast with a K.
I'd with a K too.
The portrayal of the
characters with
a K, everything was flawless. So obviously that made me laugh. That's why I included it.
Dude's a gimmick. That's clearly a gimmick.
Of course, right? But like, it works.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not criticizing the gimmick. I'm just stating the facts.
Of course, when we did our review on Ice Pirates, Jen, who is at J McMahon78, said, this movie they can reboot. And that's why I included it. What do you think? Should they reboot Ice Pirates?
I don't know.
Look, I said when we reviewed it, like, part of the problem with that movie is it is an 80s movie, is that like, they would tell jokes and let them lie in comedies back then, where now it's quicker cuts.
That's true.
Get the laugh and get that out, so people don't think about it too much. So I kind of think, like, you get that down to an hour and 30 minutes, and amp up some of the humor. I think it could work.
I think you could do a movie similar to it, but it's like, you reboot movies because there's a built-in audience. I don't know if you're gonna get the rub from Ice Pirates, right? And I think you wouldn't. I don't think you'd be able to keep true to the spirit of it today.
So Joey's been waiting for an Ice Pirates reboot for 20 years now.
Been waiting for that in my Buckaroo Banzai sequel for a long time.
Now, Buckaroo Banzai, I could see them redoing, because that's interesting.
Kevin Smith was actually working on a reboot or something at one point.
Yeah, it fell through. There was a problem with the rights. Yeah, they promised a sequel to that in the end credits, and it never happened. So
same with Masters of the Universe.
Yeah,
another Kevin
one of the first after credit scenes, after all. Yeah, you could reboot Ice Pirates, throw it on Netflix. We'll get like Batista as the Robert Urich role. I'd have space herpes as lumberjacks at the next WWE event.
Zombies.
Yeah,
and then of course, moving on, we had our interview last week with James Schumacher talking about his new book, Psalms of Caligula, and our good friend D Square just replied with a GIF of Marty McFly saying, "Whoa, this is heavy."
It's accurate. It's one of the most accurate tweets.
And then I actually messaged him. I said, "What did you like it?" And he's like, "Wow, it was so different than what you guys normally do."
Format destroyed.
And then when I was guesting on a podcast yesterday, the guy sitting next to me here was like, You owe me 2 funny episodes after that one.
That's right. That's what I was like. I need to laugh for 4 hours strictly from you after listening to that.
Yeah.
Now that I've said that, let's talk about my mom dying for about
Okay.
2.5 hours. So.
Yes, it's yeah. So James, I love you. I know you're listening because I know you listen every week. Next time, let's try to be a little lighter. Did you go back and listen to it, JD?
I did not. I tried, and I was getting frustrated remembering all the times I clipped out, and it made me angry just listening back to it. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't separate myself from the actual work that we did on the show, and it just infuriated me, and I had to move on.
All right. And then, of course, we got our first look at the Eternals 2 weeks ago, and our good friend, Timothy Jones, said, even though the Eternals aren't well known, I think that the movie will do very well, like Guardians of the Galaxy did. With big stars like Angelina Jolie, it can't go wrong. Maybe she'll adopt them all.
Wondered where he was going with that. The landing was the descension was a little shaky, but I think he eventually stuck the landing.
He tweeted at us like 3 or 4 times this week.
Sweet. So clearly he was not happy with his lack of mention last week.
Well, he didn't do any social media.
I know, but Tim gets upset when he doesn't get his free plug. Sour
grapes, available in finer newspapers across the country.
Or something.
All right, moving on. All right. And then I like this joke. We talked about the casting rumors that they're bringing over everyone from the Netflix Marvel shows, except for Finn Jones as Iron Fist and Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. And Tom D said, so, guess these heroes aren't for hire?
This is when you need to have like sound effects and go like that.
I read that and I was so angry that we missed that obvious joke when we talked about it. But of course, because it's Iron Fist and Luke Cage, it is the heroes for hire.
The actual heroes for hire.
That's like, I've got like 100 of those issues in my collection.
Let's be real. We just dropped the ball on an obvious joke, and I'm rather disappointed in myself, and I'll try to be better next time.
Yes. I mean, I'll make you, I don't know, I'll make you shave John's head. And then
Father Time has already gotten started on that process, by the way.
Oh God, yeah, that's what I said to Joey. Like, I don't understand why he's so animate about it when he's going bald himself.
That's why he's so animate about it, because he's got this reality. I can say this, John's not going to listen. He's got this reality staring him in the face that he's not comfortable with admitting that is coming. So he's like gone way hard in their direction, vehemently fighting against it, like spitting into the wind. But eventually, when one spits into the wind, they just get wet in the face.
Yes.
What I'm saying is you're going bald, John. Accept it.
Matthew Meehan tweeted at us. He said, a few episodes ago, you guys mentioned Chris Evans returning to the MCU. Obviously, he's returning as Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movie. So, because then we made that joke, and this was before the announcement of the Fantastic Four, that maybe for the multiverse version of Spider-Man, he will be Johnny Storm.
Could do that.
So what do you think of that idea, Joey?
Well, there's tons of rumors of things that they're supposedly doing with Multiverse of Madness. I know one of the things they were trying to do was to get Tom Cruise to cameo as Iron Man. So.
Oh yeah, because he was the choice for a while.
Yeah, he was supposed to play Tony Stark for a long time, back in the late 90s, early 2000s before they...
I'm shocked they didn't do a joke where they were making an Iron Man movie and they had Tom Cruise at some point playing him.
Wow, it's hard to make jokes about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise doesn't appreciate Tom Cruise jokes, so it's best.
You got to get him on the right day. Sometimes he's Tropic Thunder, and sometimes he's Mission Impossible.
That's true, and sometimes he's doing religious stuff, and we just don't talk about that because the lawyers are always listening.
Yes, and I know you can't stand Tom Cruise, Joey.
No, I'm just not a fan. It has nothing to do with like his personal life, but
no, I know that. But every time Tom Cruise movie is brought up on your podcast, you're like,
I just don't really like any of his movies other than Edge of Tomorrow. AKA Live, Die, Repeat. I haven't liked any of his movies, period. And Mark will kill me for saying this, but even the Mission Impossible movies, I just can't get into them. I don't like Tom Cruise. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was because I was a kid. Like most of the movies he was in were kind of boring. Or
It was the volleyball scene in Top Gun, wasn't it?
Well, you know what? With Top Gun, like people built this up, like Top Gun, Top Gun, Top Gun. And I watched it when I was a kid, and I was at the height of like G.I. Joe, like glorification of the United States military, like everything. And it was mostly like love and like kissing and like playing volleyball. Like, but then you watch something awesome like Iron Eagle, and like he learned how to fly an F-14 from the power of rock music. Like that was way cooler than anything that happened in Top Gun.
I've never heard such a strong defense of Iron Eagle that is supported. Like that's how you build an argument. You have your statements, and you have your conclusion, and you prove your statement by your conclusion. I'm sold. That worked.
Excellent. I'm glad we had this talk.
I'm now. I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
So JD, you now believe Iron Eagle is a superior movie to Top Gun?
I never loved Top Gun, but I never like hated Top Gun. Top Gun's always something that's just kind of, you just as a child of the 80s, you just accepted that Top Gun was a thing. Now I don't dislike Tom Cruise, but I've always been rather agnostic on Tom Cruise. Like you just kind of accept that Tom Cruise is going to do Tom Cruise stuff. And now we talk about fighting the hands of time. He just wants to be an action hero until his hips break. So that's just what you accept from Tom Cruise movies. I do like Legend, but that could be because I'm a weirdo. I think that's a good movie, but that's about it. As far as, do you like Tom Cruise? I don't own a single Tom Cruise movie. Let's leave it at that.
Do I own? I don't think I own any either.
Oh, I take it back. I like Minority Report too, but that's more Steven Spielberg than Tom Cruise.
Yeah, of course. And then finally, we talked about Finn Wittrock being cast as Guy Gardner in the upcoming Green Lantern series. Maybe. More on that in a minute. Shadow Walker, one of our usual.
Shadow Walker is a weirdo.
Yeah. He changed his handle. It was just Shadow Walker. I rather have Kyle Rayner or Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart as Green Lantern than Guy Gardner. Yes, but
you're getting a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a buddy cop thing where they're going to be all in there. So, except for probably Hal Jordan is my guess. And then
that's fine.
And then Hanson Long said, as for casting, I think he will be amazing. So. I haven't seen anything he's in, so I have no judgment on that yet whatsoever. So
we got another response on that one too.
We did? I didn't.
Yeah, my buddy Jeremy Feinstone, one of my Fight Game Media guys. I have no idea. I'm looking at the tweet right now. It says, I'll read it. I'll do the job. I'll fill in this.
Oh, fine.
You can't read it. I mean, I got myself in a little hot water on this, but when Wittrock was announced as the asshole Green Lantern, that was a little hard to filter since all the other Green Lanterns are assholes in one way or another. Hashtag hot take.
Okay, I had to click more replies. I don't know why that.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, interesting.
Because he swore, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know.
Twitter's weird, man. Twitter's being weird lately.
Yes.
But he's not wrong. Like most of the Green Lanterns do have some type of asshole vibe to them.
True.
Except for Kyle. Kyle, not so much. But the rest of them all kind of.
And then I think you guys talked about on your podcast, Joey, like, why is he being announced as the first one too? Like of all the Green Lanterns?
that was something we talked about on our show. It's a weird play, especially with the climate of everything these days when they have, Jon Stewart, and it's not even just in a diversity type of way. Like Jon Stewart's probably the most popular Green Lantern for a whole generation of fans because he was the Green Lantern on the cartoons. Plus you have Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz. Like there's a lot of like diverse characters in the Green Lantern universe you could be pulling out, and it fits. It's not just done cynically, but for some reason they want to have Guy Gardner up front, and the guy that they cast isn't a redhead, so I don't know. Redhead erasure continues in Hollywood.
Hey, they can put a wig on for Cletus Cassidy. Oh, I can't think of his name.
Woody Harrelson.
They can put
some red straw on Woody Harrelson's head in the end credits of Venom. They can do anything.
Exactly. Well, on that note, boys and girls, here is our good friend D Square to tell you as you can follow along on social media, be part of social media madness, and you can follow the Geek World All Stars.
Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you're following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the social media links for the show at the top of the page. While you're there, check out previous episodes of the podcast as well as other great content. And check the site often because we are posting great comic book reviews as well as other comic book and movie content every day. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Simply follow them at *_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prism Power Podcast, Colt 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for GW All-Stars, you will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
Thank you for that, Don. And don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. And on that note, we'll take our first commercial break and we'll be right back.
If you're looking for adventure this summer, escape with Marvel Comics. Fight crime with Spider-Man, meet the Fantastic Four, and watch Captain America in action. May the Force be with you as you battle the evil empire in Star Wars. Discover the secrets of the South American jungle in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And with Marvel Comics, you're never alone because they can go with you in the car or to the park, even on a rainy day. Marvel Comics are your ticket to fun and adventure this summer.
All right, we're back. All right, we got a little bit of news this week. Actually, we got a lot of news this week because we didn't talk news last week.
We did not, in fact, talk news.
And we'll start with the big one. I did not know this happened apparently over the weekend, and JD brought it to my attention earlier today. Long story short, AT&T is dumping Warner Media and I don't fully understand the concept of this deal. They're forming a new company with Discovery.
So they're basically merging with Discovery with the purposes of they call it spinning off. They're going to take those assets and push them off into a new thing. Essentially, AT&T is dumping Warner Media,
right,
and all its connected businesses.
Yes, it's interesting. So it makes
but AT&T is going to own 70% of the new company.
They will still have their shares, right, but it won't be. They won't be like in the day-to-day of it. They will retain a controlling. They will retain an interest, but they're basically just like it's almost like vulture capitalism. Like you take that thing, you throw that over, and you're going to let someone else run it, and then eventually you're probably going to say, "Hey, I want to get some money back." So, yeah,
yes, and then of course the other aspect of this is the guy in charge was one of the guys from Discovery, which is basically a reality show network at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be making creative choices that it could affect the DC movies. That's where my mind was like, what? Hold on here. Not that they're getting any better.
So this is like the whole aspect. What intrigued me the most is this DC in particular, because ever since Warner Media took over, they essentially they really disassembled most of kind of what DC Comics has been. Like they fired a lot of people that worked there. They completely retooled the editing department, or the editorial department, excuse me. And this happened before too, when Warner decided they wanted to get more into DC and they pulled them away from New York into California.
Yep.
And DC has just been continuously chipped away at little bit by little bit. Part of me wonders if they won't just sell it off in general, but retain those IP rights, So I don't know. This is very, very interesting.
Yeah, because we talked about that before, where would DC just stop publishing comics and just sell the IPs to other independents?
Well, that's been a big rumor for a while too, is that they've been cutting down the number of books that they have. You're going to see a huge focus on just big brands. So Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Green Lantern, that's it. And then the follow-up rumor to that is it was going to go, mostly digital, graphic novel focused, and they'd be farming out to like Boom or IDW to actually produce the comics, and they'd just be still released as DC Comics under DC, and through Warner they'd retain all the rights to the IP and the characters, but they wouldn't be making the comics themselves. There'd be no DC Comics really anymore, other than some editors and people that work in licensing.
So they've actually been doing like under Marie Javins as the sole editor in chief. They had a split editor in chief last year. They've been making money. Like they've actually, they've culled back enough to the point where they're actually fairly financially solvent and financially successful. But it's such a
Well, when you're selling Batman for $8 an issue, it's not hard.
That's true. That's part of the problem. But like the question is, there's such a small stain on the Warner Media scale that they can kind of get away with it. Like it's easy for them to get rid of a bunch of $40,000-$50,000 a year positions to make ends meet while you're keeping Batman and being able to sell them for $8 a pop, and you have that IP rights where you can make a lot of money in the future. So, but I mean, do you really want the day-to-day, grind of having to run a comic studio? And now that's going to be someone else's decision.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Like everything is up for grabs.
Yeah. And I don't even think I know anyone who's currently working with DC on anything.
Yeah, their biggest luck, if they could get it, would be someone at this new merged company that just loves comics. Like if there's some higher up that's a huge comic fan and is like, I don't care, I want DC Comics to keep running and this is what I want it to do, that would be the best thing for them. Like, otherwise, it gets scary. It gets scary.
Well, case in point with Warner Media, the wrestling guy, Ted Turner was a big wrestling fan, so he kept WCW safe and running for years because he just liked wrestling. And no matter how much they lost, they were safe until they got absorbed into AOL. Turner lost his controlling interest, and the new guys in control, like, we don't want this. This is stupid. We're losing money, and they got rid of it. So really, when it comes to these type of things, it really comes down to what does the guy in charge want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And until that person is there, nobody has any idea, especially at Warner, that's been in such turmoil for the last decade, really. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm thinking of New Mutants.
As we want to do on the show, yes.
As well, because of the idea of that movie was done. Then Disney bought Fox, and they drug their feet for the longest time to release it because they did not like it.
Yeah.
So who knows, these DC movies that are done, that are sitting on the shelf, that haven't come out yet, don't have release dates, are they going to come out now?
Well, a big deal like this doesn't come out of nowhere. It may seem like that to us news cycle wise, where it just, like, when you woke up this morning, there were rumors, and by 4:00 this afternoon, it's a thing. But I mean, remember a few months ago, they canned New Gods, and what was the other? There's one other project they canned.
Yeah, something else got busted too. I can't remember.
That just seemed out of the blue. Like, what? Why are they not making New Gods anymore?
The Trench,
right?
Yeah.
And both of those had big name directors behind them and creatives, and they just dropped them out of nowhere. So that could have been part of this. They may be streamlining what they're going to do project wise.
I can see that, especially when you have those two and you have the Rocks doing Black Adam. You're going to keep the Rock on Black Adam because you're going to make money with that.
Right. That's almost too far along at this point to stop. So
true, very true. Like you said, like they sat on New Mutants, but New Mutants was a rather low budget film that Disney didn't do. That, you're right, was done. So they could sit and go, what are we going to do with this monstrosity? And nobody. New Mutants
had a lot of tangles to it too. It wasn't tied to the MCU. It had contracts where it had to be released theatrically. They couldn't just dump it on Disney Plus because they had streaming rights to HBO Max. That thing was a mess.
Total mess. HBO. Well, that's the whole thing. What comes down to is HBO. With some mention making HBO Max, AT&T lost so much money in HBO Max and in DirecTV. Like they've lost $8 billion. They spent $85 billion to acquire all this stuff, and they've already lost $8 billion, like on top of that. So they have to start divesting stuff. Like DirecTV's been a big failure. HBO Max, we've been talking about since day one how they really rolled it out poorly, how there was not a lot on the app, and they took advantage of an international pandemic, and they were able to put some stuff that made the app interesting. I mean, I'm losing big time interest in it right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So this is a problem. But if you're able to, we talked about this, like everything is going to go big and now things are contracting. We talked about it a month or so ago that Universal Comcast was in talks to acquire HBO Max too. And apparently that did not happen. O'Grady can't talk about that because, he works for the man. But apparently Discovery, they're feeling a little froggy. But now you got something interesting. If you're able to combine those two apps, Now you've got one of the premier reality TV services. Now
Right.
you have scripted drama on top of a movie catalog, and now you're opening up your window a lot more. So already that service is better, and you're gonna, I don't know if you're gonna be able to absorb all the Discovery Plus subscribers or how you're gonna reformat that, because there's some overlap, but it's interesting.
I will say this is probably going to finally kill some rumors, hopefully. There were rumors, I don't remember where I heard this, where the president at Warner Brothers was a big Zack Snyder fan, and he actually had plans to continue the Snyderverse. In fact, they were apparently going to do a Ben Affleck Batman series on HBO Max, and
I heard
were
that.
scouting locations. Yeah, so it's like, hopefully this puts all that to bed.
Who knows? I mean, honestly, because I guess we're supposed to hear the new name of the company, whatever they're going to call it, within the next week. They're this new spinoff company, the new Warner Media successor. And I imagine when you announce it, you're going to get the new people. Maybe it's the same people in charge. I doubt that, but I mean, like, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's gonna be fascinating to see who is spearheading this entire thing.
No, when companies do stuff like this, they take their opportunity to get rid of the people they don't like.
They do. They do.
Yeah, well, for us as nerds, it's easy to poo-poo a lot of the Discovery stuff, but those shows are some of the top shows on cable, like
kill.
90 Day Fiance, all that kind of stuff. Those are really popular shows.
Oh,
and I don't know if you guys partake in them, but sometimes they're very entertaining as trash TV. So
my wife likes the House Hunters and the Home Improvement revamp shows, but that's you talk about that too, because now you're talking about a completely different demographic that would subscribe to HBO Max. So you've already upped your value, because now you're going to reach into people that really weren't going to subscribe. Right now you're going to have people buying this, whatever you call HBO Max in the future, specifically for like the the Chip and Joanna Gaines show, whose name escapes me at the moment, or the Property Brothers and all that and whatnot. So,
or just to throw on diners, drive-ins, and dives in the background while you do housework and laundry.
Absolutely. And there's people, my wife does that all the time. So I mean, like, this, it makes sense, just as far as, we're still in the content absorption phase. So like the more diversified content you can get for one service, the better off you're going to be, because Peacock's next, man. That is not working very well. So let's see what happens with that.
Yeah. And on a personal note, Guy Fieri is a personal hero of mine. All right. So,
well, Amazon is talking about buying MGM now. That was the last thing I saw before we got on here.
I just read that too, that rumor's going around. Yeah. That is fascinating, because now if Prime can absorb the MGM movie library, which was a Turner thing forever, that's really interesting. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And they're saying NBC is circling CBS. So
doesn't MGM have the rights to? No, that's Universal.
MGM would be like James Bond, Rocky.
Yeah. No, it was the rights to the Solo Hulk movie, I think.
Universal.
That's Universal Comcast.
Still tied up at Universal. Yeah, still tied up at John's company. All right, moving on.
Comcast.
Yep. Let's talk about the trailer that dropped this week. We got our first look at Snake Eyes, or G.I. Joe Snake Eyes. What's it called again?
Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins.
That's
Boy, they love colons in those movies.
Yeah.
So what did we think? I mean, I know Joey's a diehard G.I. Joe fan, so I'm going to ask him to go first.
All right. Well, this is a little bit of an exclusive, because this trailer dropped after we recorded this week's episode of So Wizard, so we haven't even talked about it on there yet.
Woo-hoo!
But there's a couple levels to this. First of all, I thought the trailer was too short. It was only about a minute. This is a movie coming out in 2 months, I think, at this point, or 6 weeks, and there's been next to no marketing. So I was expecting a longer trailer. I don't like trailers that reveal the entire movie. So there's an art to it, and you can watch, like, I actually think I don't care how you feel about the movie, the original trailers for Force Awakens were a masterclass in marketing. It was different cuts of scenes, different dialogue cuts, dialogue not even used in the movie, sped up, slowed down. So you were pumped beyond belief, but you still had no idea what the movie was about. And then when you would see the same scenes in the movie, they were different, or shot different, or cut different. That was a marketing masterclass. So I'm not going to expect that out of every movie, but I don't want to see the entire movie in the trailer either. This was just, it was too short. It was too short. I couldn't get a feel of what I was looking at outside of it. It looked awesome. Like the action looked great. The fighting looked great. I'm 100% in. I love those kind of movies, regardless if it's related to G.I. Joe. I love G.I. Joe, obviously, but there was nothing there to pull me in. If I'm not a big fan of these type of action kung fu karate movies, there was nothing there that pulled me in as a lay person. This isn't looking to be a 4-quadrant like blockbuster movie just on what they showed, and that makes me sad because I want good G.I. Joe movies. I want more G.I. Joe movies. I'm a huge Samara Weaving fan. I don't know if you guys saw Ready or Not.
No.
What? It's one of the best movies of the last couple of years. It's a horror comedy. You may or may not like it. It's great. Check it out. She was great in that. So I'm excited about the cast. I'm excited about the movie. I just wanted more. I just wanted a hook. There never didn't feel like a hook to the trailer other than cool action. So don't get me wrong. I liked it. I liked the action I saw. I just never felt hooked in as somebody watching it for the first time. If you're not a big G.I. Joe fan like I am, you're just like, oh, what's this trailer? Oh, it's another action movie. And that was it. You know, it just slots right in with 100 other action movie trailers you've probably seen. So.
Okay. What did you think, JD?
I don't disagree with a lot of what Joey said. I'm not a huge G.I. Joe fan. Not that I dislike G.I. Joe. It's just never, of the Hasbro properties, I leaned more Transformers. But I don't know. It was weird for me seeing Snake Eyes without the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that in itself gave me a disconnect. Like, you're telling me it's Snake Eyes, but in my brain, I'm not registering that is Snake Eyes. I'm not saying it's not going to be a bad movie, but I mean, like, there's a disconnect there, especially with a character that is probably your ace character from G.I. Joe that has a distinct look. It's like doing a Spider-Man movie where he never puts on the mask, right? It's weird to me. I haven't liked any of the G.I. Joe movies that I saw. I didn't care for either of them. So based on that alone, I'm not real excited for this. Like, I don't think Hasbro's got a bad track record when it comes to their properties being adapted. So I'm not real excited for it. That being said, I'm probably going to watch it.
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree with the concept of like showing Snake Eyes without his mask. Like,
well, it's his origin.
Yeah, I get it.
But it's like, it's the whole idea, like, you know, Boba Fett, Snake Eyes, Spider-Man, to a point where it's a character who's covered head to toe. There's a mystique to him. Like, it could be anyone under the costume. And then once they start showing you, oh, here's the origin. Same thing with the Joker. You show the Joker's origin, you take his mystique away, and it like ruins the character. So yeah, I was not a fan of the Joker movie. So yeah, like, I don't know. And like you said, Joey, it felt like a standard kung fu movie, the trailer. So it's like, without G.I. Joe, would I watch this? Probably not. So
I probably still would, because I'm nuts, but you know. The thing with Snake Eyes' origin that doesn't really work for today's audience is in the comic, he was injured and disfigured in Vietnam.
Right.
So that what are we gonna have, a like 60-something-year-old Snake Eyes running around in the movie? Like people freaking out over the changes to the origin in that extent. It was never gonna happen. You know, it was never gonna be a flashback movie. It was, you know, this is all about making G.I. Joe hip now and wow for young audiences. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, they had to change the origins to most of the characters in the Marvel movies because they go back to the 60s. So yeah.
The only difference is Captain America sleeps longer now. You know? Yeah,
that's for Cap. That's the only difference. But that's another thing. Like, Tony Stark was making weapons for Vietnam.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, they can't do that now. So yeah, no, I agree. But it's just like, it was just, I don't know. We'll see.
That's why I say it needed a longer trailer. It just needed a hook beyond this is a cool action movie.
If the trailer ended with him in the costume,
yeah, I'd feel better about it right away with that.
I think that's your hook. But they didn't.
I feel like that's probably how the movie ends. So they don't want to show it because that's the end of the movie. Like, he's probably not going to put that costume on the whole movie.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you gotta, I still, like, as a layman, someone on the outside, I don't feel connected to Snake Eyes because of that.
Yeah, you know? And they're pushing the, you know, the Ninja Clan symbol and all the marketing, but I think that's more of a nerd thing and not something that's going to pull into layman audiences. So,
yes, definitely. All right, let's move on. We did get confirmation that Marvel's What If will debut in August on Disney Plus. Are we looking forward to What If? And what do we think? I think the only story we know confirmed so far is what if Peggy Carter had gotten the super soldier serum. I think, and that's probably going to be the first episode. That's the one we've seen the most of. So, are we excited for this series? JD, we'll start with you this time.
I think I want a trailer before I make a decision. Like, I think I needed like a small sampling of what they're outputting before, because I love the What If comics. Like, those were fun. Like, those got you thinking about some stuff, and there's always really fun to see the alternate takes on everything. So conceptually, I'm on board, but I don't have a feeling for what the show is actually going to be yet. You know?
True. I've been wondering that too. Is it going to be connected, or are they all going to be separate standalone stories?
I don't know. Like, if this What If is basically a whole season of what if Peggy Carter was Captain America.
No, because
I
they
don't know.
also showed what if T'Challa was taken by Yondu instead of Star-Lord.
That's right. I forgot about that. So there are different episodes. Yeah, give me a smattering of what to expect, and I'll have a better opinion.
Well, Joey, I know you live in a what if universe, so
I am a huge fan of those comics too from back in the day. I always loved them. They were really dark though. I mean, I remember every issue, everybody died. I think it was What If
Somebody
X-Men
died,
Lost
yeah.
Inferno. And then like the first like 5 pages, like every character's dead except for like 3 or 4. But there were some leaks. And you were right, the T'Challa gets picked up by the Ravagers instead of Star-Lord. There's something with Ultron. I think it might just be what if Ultron won and he's the only thing on Earth left that's powered when Thanos arrives.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yes, there's a lot of different kind, and something about that. We know Marvel Zombies is going to be on it because of the teaser, but I think that has to do with Doctor Strange doing something. So there's been some leaks or concept art, and some of the I know like 3 or 4 months ago, every single episode title leaked, but I forgot them at this point because it wasn't like that big a deal.
I did not see that. Huh.
But yeah, I mean, it should be cool. You know, I like the animated parts that they showed, and it should be fun. It should be a fun show as long as they don't milk it and run out of ideas. And it's all going to be MCU based, obviously, but
Right.
it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. It'll be nice to not feel the oomph of having to watch it immediately. So if I want to wait like 2 or 3 weeks and watch a couple episodes, I'm not going to be so far behind on MCU and all this stuff. It's like I'll watch it when I watch it, and that's it. It's not tied to the main continuity, so I'm not going to feel the pressure to watch it right away.
Yeah, and especially if they are each a standalone story, each episode. Yeah,
every episode's a standalone. Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the next one. And you're right too. Basing it on the MCU as opposed to the comics, like the comics, you have hundreds and thousands of stories to choose from to do a what if one. You have 21 stories to pick from, basically.
Well, the problem with that is who still reads comics? That's a sad statement.
Right.
That's a sad statement. But even the more popular stories from back in the day that weren't adapted that much, like the average Joe on the street doesn't know what they are, and you're not going to be able to grab an audience for that. There's more people that have seen. More people are going to watch the Black Widow movie on opening weekend than have bought a single issue of her comic combined in the last 10 years. Like, that's a sad statement, but for the flagship female character in some of the most popular movies of all time, her comics can't break 27,000 copies a month.
True.
And when you break that down by state, like how many copies per state is that? That's like it gets scary, it gets sad, to really see what the audience is for some of these books that aren't overinflated by variant covers, events, all sorts of shenanigans. It's kind of scary to see this comic book market that way, but the average Joe just doesn't read comics anymore.
No, they don't. Yeah, because digital comics stink. Anyway.
But they don't read them in the amount of numbers that are going to make Marvel spend money on an animated series. So,
all right. So I had included this again because we kind of talked about it quickly last week, JD. Yeah, we kind of glossed over it. I mean, maybe it was one of the times you popped out, so now we can talk about it.
Venom.
And then I really wanted to get John's take on it, but now we've got Joey. And I know you guys talked about it on your show already. The Venom 2 trailer, Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, we did talk about yes. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to reiterate, like, did you watch JD?
Yes.
Did you watch the first movie?
No, not no. I never saw it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Neither have I. And then,
Oh,
Yeah, we're a terrible nerd podcast.
well, and here's the thing, because I can't, like, my whole thing was I can't do Venom without Spider-Man. It just doesn't work
It's
for me.
pointless. It was pointless.
And then watching this trailer, I thought, okay, well, I'll watch the second movie because I like Carnage. I like the play off of Venom and Carnage in the comics.
What a weird ass trailer.
That, yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, I can't, who said it on your show, Joey, about the humor between Eddie and Venom, but like in the comics, it's dark humor.
mhm.
This
Yeah.
is slapstick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Once you see Venom making breakfast in a slapstick manner, I'm done. I'm out. Like, nope,
Well,
that's not my
if you,
Venom.
if you watch the first movie, and I said this on our show, and I've said it multiple times when we talk about this property as the movie, the interplay between Venom and Tom Hardy being bros and trying to figure out how to live together and their wacky hijinks, that's the best part of the movie. Tom Hardy knows exactly what kind of shitty movie he's in. He's chewing the scenery. He could stop in the middle of a scene, pick up a chair behind him, and just start munching on it. He's chewing on scenery so bad. But he seems like he's having a blast. And those are the best parts of the movie. Unfortunately, there's a movie that you have to watch that goes with all of that, and that is terrible. So this trailer doesn't do anything for me to assuage those fears. Everything that isn't Eddie and Venom farting around making breakfast or joking around with the lady that works at the corner store is horrible. And I wouldn't want to watch a 2-hour movie of Venom's wacky adventures at the corner store. So I don't know what they're doing here, but it's not working for me. It really does feel like this would fit in a cinematic universe with like Ben Affleck, Daredevil.
Yeah,
It feels like 2005's hottest superhero movie. Like it feels like a relic of a bygone age, and it's just not for me. I don't love any character enough to overlook a shitty movie. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, there's bad Star Wars movies. My kids are named after Star Wars characters, and there are Star Wars movies I don't like. I'm willing to be realistic about it. So,
I mean,
there's nothing that can make me overlook a bad movie.
I'm a guy who's been waiting for a Venom movie since in Stan's soapbox in like 1992 when they were talking about making the Spider-Man movie, and Stan Lee like mentioned, or whoever was writing him at that point mentioned, oh, and we want to try to get Venom into the movie as well, you know, and getting exciting and wanted to see him since then. And now it's like, you know, we finally got Venom, but they're not doing it right. And like, I read all of the miniseries that came out, and it's like, this is not the character from those books at all. Like,
well, they just don't have the patience for it either, and it's really hard to do without Spider-Man. But I mean, it needs to be the alien costume saga first, that then becomes Venom, that becomes a bad guy that Spider-Man fights, that then becomes an anti-hero. You just can't rush into these things. And the Venom movie with Tom Hardy does the best it can to give it an origin without Spider-Man involved. But then you do get things where you're like, okay, well, so he's a big alien monster. Okay. Then why does he like shoot web type things and swing around
and have a face like Spider-Man?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I cannot get into this King in Black stuff going on, because why do all the characters all have Spider-Man symbols on their chest? If it's an ancient king of symbiotic aliens from the other side of the galaxy, why does he have a Spider-Man symbol on his chest other than branding for the cover of the comic? I can't get into it. So
yeah. All right, good. At least you can be honest on our show.
I'm always honest.
Yeah, I mean, Aubrey loves it just because it's Tom Hardy. I get it.
I understand. There are there are plenty of actresses that I give 100% pass no matter how terrible the movie is. So.
Yeah, like Brie Larson. Anyway, moving on, we're going to get a gift in June. It's going to be 10 days before my birthday. Instead of Fridays, Wednesdays, they announced we're going to be getting Loki. June 9th. So are we excited about this? And does it shift how we're going to watch it?
It's weird.
JD?
I don't know, kind of. I wonder why. Because it seemed like the Friday midnight thing was working well for them. leading into a
Mhm.
weekend. Is it still? I missed it. Is it still going to be 3 a.m. East Coast, midnight West Coast thing? Does it say?
I don't think it's said in the article.
Because if they do like a Wednesday at like 7 p.m. or
Nah,
something like that, that would be okay, I guess. But just the
yeah,
fact
because
that, yeah,
because it's all based on that short that they put on YouTube, and it's just Tom Hiddleston like saying, it's going to be on Wednesdays.
so weird.
Yeah,
It's weird. Like it seemed like they had a good thing going with Friday mornings, but I don't know. I don't know. I want to. I mean, like, it sucks for us because we post our show on Wednesdays, so the week stuff's going to be a week behind, basically. But
right, exactly. Yeah, they're screwing us. And we'll have 2 days to think about it before we talk about it now, as opposed to talking about it. Oh no, not 2 days.
no,
We
we'll have
record
like
Mondays.
4 or 5 days. It won't be.
Yeah, we
My
have 2
takes won't be
extra.
as fresh.
What I meant is we'll have 2 extra days to think about it and be influenced by people on social media.
Well, John will watch 100 different YouTube videos to come in and talk about it. So it's just going to be like, I don't know. I'm not a fan, but I suppose it's not going to impact my enjoyment of it.
What about you, Joey? Is it going to hurt you at all?
No, we don't review any of the shows weekly like that. We'll wait till the last episode airs, and then we'll do our full season review the week after. So that's already planned. I have the whole show planned out through the end of September, so I already have that slotted in. In terms of my watching, no, we watch it all together as a family because we're all into MCU. Me and the kids way more than my wife, but she is interested in it and invested because we made her watch all the movies. So she's actually caught up through everything now. Everything that's been released, she's caught up. So, which is stunning to me. I can't believe that it happened, but yeah, she's caught up. And that's how I actually guilted my daughter into watching WandaVision with us, because just from her schedule as a senior in high school and hanging out with her boyfriend and working, she hadn't watched the first 3 episodes. And I was like, come on, man, you gotta just, they're half an hour long. Sit down and watch this with me. And she's just like, no, I gotta do this. I'm like, damn, mommy's more caught up on the MCU than you. And I just walked away. And then, a few hours later, she came in the room and we watched all 3 episodes. So it was fine. But yeah, it's not going to affect my watching at all. It's not really going to affect the show at all. And it's exciting. I just get it out. I'm interested in these shows. I'm interested. So
Yeah, I can't wait. I think this one's going to be good. Can't go wrong with Loki. And in our last little bit of news for the week, they have officially announced that Blade reboot will film in summer of 2022. So it is happening.
Cool.
It's not just a rumor anymore. Like, I had heard that, who's the actor who's playing Blade?
Mahershala Ali.
That's it. Like, I heard a rumor that he went into Kevin Feige's office and said he wanted to play Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't even have plans for a Blade movie. He met with them and said, they were like, well, we'd love to have you back in the movies. He's like, great, I'll play Blade.
And they went, okay, we're making Blade.
Yeah.
That's what started it.
Well, there you go. So yeah, and off of that, it's off and running. Is it going to be as good as the Wesley Snipes movie?
I don't know. Well, the Wesley Snipes movie, when you look back on it, there's definitely some 90s cheese in it, but it's really the beginning of people taking Marvel movies seriously, right? Because that's a legit attempt at a movie. Like, you've got a legit star. Wesley Snipes was a star in 1998.
Right.
And I think it's aged decently. Like, I still enjoy. I think I like Blade 2 better than Blade 1, Del Toro and all. But it's still watchable. It's still pretty solid. Some of the special effects are really dated, but
yeah,
it's fun. I mean, if they do something different with it, I'm all on board.
Right. As long as they don't have to CGI his eyes open at the end. How about you, Joey? Excited for a Blade reboot?
Well, of course. I love those. Well, I love the first 2 movies. Blade 2 for a long time was in my top 10 comic book movies of all time. I haven't sat down and remade that list in a while. So, but yeah, I love those movies. They're a relic of their time, obviously. And some of the special effects don't hold up, but they're still great. I like them a lot. They need to do something different. I don't think audiences, well, I don't want to say that, but I'd be happy with more of the same, but I'd like to see the excitement comes from, here's this fantastic, like, generational talent actor, and here is the best movie studio making comic book movies there's ever been, and now they're going to make this property. So I just want to see what they can do, like go wild. I don't want them to feel trapped in a box of being like, well, he's got to wear a trench coat and swirl it around in these scenes because that's what happened in a movie 35 years ago. You know, just go wild, man. And I don't care if it's R or PG-13. I don't think either of those Blade movies are too bad in terms of content, and they could be easily toned down to PG-13. You just have to take out some blood and some swears. I mean, that's all really the difference is at this point in these movies is a tiny bit of gore and the profanity. There's not really much content wise that can't be done in a PG-13 movie at this point. So when he kills the vampires, they just turn to ash. It's not like there's like blood squirting everywhere or anything. So
I really want to know what vampires in the MCU is like.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's intriguing to me because we haven't really tapped into too much the horror side of it. So I want to know what an MCU vampire is.
Looks like Jared Leto.
Oh God, I keep forgetting about that. That's something I hope that never happens. Right? Someone needs to try to buy Sony and say stop the Spider-Man movies.
Well, if someone buys Sony, the rights auto revert to Marvel, so that would be the best thing that ever happened.
Ooh, hey, Bezos, get on that, man.
Yeah, I can say that now. I don't work for Amazon anymore. Jeff Bezos, get over here. Open your wallet.
I don't see that happening, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, me neither.
No one's buying Sony.
But it would be nice. Was Sony still MGM technically?
Sony? No, they work together, but they're separate companies.
Yeah. Almost happened. You missed this. Speaking of Spider-Man, you missed the story, Dave. Andrew Garfield.
Oh, you're right. This is you're right. I completely skipped over that. So yeah, we've been talking about this No Way Home movie for a while now, and the of course we have not Tobey Maguire. Who's the kid playing him now? Thank you. Wow, my mind is not here tonight. Tom Holland keeps denying that all these people are in the movie. Of course, Alfred Molina came out a few weeks ago and said, "Oh yeah, I'm in No Way Home. I'm playing Doc Ock," you know. And now Andrew Garfield has come out and denied that he's in the movie, which to me proves even more. And apparently, the way he denied it, he said like what Tom Holland was saying, like, almost verbatim. It sounded scripted. So to me, that proves he's in it. But I don't know. I could be wrong. What do you think?
It's very wrestling, like, you know, you're working people, but I don't. At the same time, maybe he is on this. I mean, like, we had these like big expectations for WandaVision that we kind of let our imagination run with, and we've big time done that with this movie. So maybe this is a call to kind of pull back a little bit. So I would rather believe him here and be happy when I see him than expect him and be disappointed that he isn't there when he told me he wasn't going to be there.
Very pragmatic of you.
I try to be that guy. If you have no expectations, you can never be disappointed.
Do you have any expectations, Joey?
I'm not going to be too upset if the worst live action Spider-Man doesn't show up in the movie. So
fair.
You know, it's not. I'm not going to be broken up about it. I mean, we're still going to get dubstep electro in this one since Jamie Foxx is confirmed. So yeah, it's fine. I like them not telling you everything up front.
Right.
I'd prefer it to be a surprise. It's never going to be a surprise because at this point, these movies are huge machines and things leak. Marvel is usually really good about it, but I feel like for the MCU shows, at least, there's been a lot of leaks, whether it's content or even video from the shows themselves or Funko Pops or action figures. There's been a bunch of Lego leaks for Eternals and Shang-Chi. There was a whole plot leak of Eternals about a month ago. I read it and it made no sense to me at all. So I feel like I know less about the movie now that I read the plot leak than I did before I read it. And it really it was somebody had seen a test screening and then they told someone else about it. And then that person leaked it everywhere.
So it was like third hand.
Right. And it read like somebody that didn't like, it read like somebody who didn't like comics, watched Infinity War, told their friend about it, and then they told you about it, but they weren't 100% sure everything was right, and they didn't know who any of the characters were. It's like I don't even know what you're saying at this point. So I just blumped it. But yeah, I'm still excited for anything MCU. Let's be honest. I'm gonna go see it no matter what it is. It could be, I don't know, Skrull Kill Crew or some like terrible Blood Wolf, some terrible comic from the 90s, and I'd still go see it. But And Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. So again, I'll see anything with Spider-Man in it. Just make a
Yeah.
good movie. I'd be more than happy if he's not in it at all. If none of these people are in this period, and it was just about Tom Holland dealing with his identity being revealed at the end of the last movie, I'm happy with whatever they want to do. So
Skrull Kill Crew was written by Grant Morrison.
yes, it was. Yeah. One of the only things of his I've ever liked.
That's a deep cut right there.
The
don't
comic
like-
book podcast had to bring the big guns
Yeah,
out.
I appreciate that. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
You don't like Grant Morrison?
No, he's too arty farty for me.
I love it. He's my favorite. He's my favorite fighter because I'm Johnny Artsy Fartsy.
You didn't like his you don't like his Batman and Robin? You don't
Nope.
like
Nope.
you don't like Damian Wayne?
I like Damian Wayne. Just I don't know. I didn't really like his run on just about anything except for JLA that time. So,
Jelly Run was really good.
I don't know.
He is already farty. I mean,
He is already farty.
I cannot deny that at all. I have
Yeah.
to just kind of steer into it and to say I am kind of a snob.
yeah, I'm more of a Mark Grunwald, Tom DeFalco kind of guy. So give me that kind of writing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on the same page as you, Joey. Spider-Man, and that when I was collecting, it was Ron Frenz and Tom DeFalco were the main two doing
perfection.
Spider-Man. Exactly. So it's like that's what we grew up reading. So I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'm actually starting to think because they have confirmed that the stunt there has been confirmation that the stunt doubles for Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire have worked on this movie. So I'm starting to wonder, like, do we see them in costume and that's it? It's like just
Possible.
in a quick.
There was an entire alleged plot leak on 4chan, I want to say like a week or two ago. I read it. It didn't sound outlandish. It didn't sound super made up. Like some of these things leak and they're just, you can pick the things out where you're like, that's not right. That's not right. Or something ridiculous, or someone will throw like a weird meme in there just to, you're halfway through it and some stupid thing is in it. You're like, all right, that's not real. It sounded pretty plausible. So I think we'll see them more than we think, but not as much as we want. That's the best way I can say it.
I think
yeah.
that sounds pretty accurate, to be honest with you.
Because at the end of the day, it is Tom Holland's Spider-Man movie.
Right.
You
Mhm.
can't steal that from him. Yeah. So.
But he did say he wanted to play Spider-Man forever, so we might get 3 more movies with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, depending on Sony and Marvel making nice.
You talk about people trying to steal Tom Holland's Spider-Man, much the way Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel tried to steal Blade from Wesley Snipes.
That's right. That's right. To the point where he wouldn't leave his trailer.
Yes, I mean, see,
And having watched his eyes.
Well, having watched the movie, I'm like, okay, Wesley Snipes might not have paid his taxes, but he certainly wasn't wrong about this.
Yeah.
Poor Wesley.
Don't poor Wesley. He stole Coming to America. He was fantastic in that movie.
He was amazing in Dolomite Is My Name.
Yes, he's still good. Like he's
Dol-
still really good.
Yes, he was
I
good.
always bet on black,
Oh, yes, the classic line, Passenger 57.
But I actually haven't watched Coming to America yet.
I think if you enjoy the first one,
I
you
do,
will.
of course.
That is it's very much rehashy of the first, and it's entertaining for an evening. It's not a
Watch the first one before you watch the
That's
second one again.
very
okay.
good advice. That's
Yeah.
very good advice because
There's a lot of callbacks and
a lot of,
throwback jokes. And
remember this? A lot of that.
yeah, yeah, I hadn't seen it since I watched it on VHS, and I was just like, I think I remember that guy, and I think that was a joke.
That's one of those movies that I've seen probably 130 times. Like it's one of those, if I'm in a mood, Coming to America is what goes on. If I'm flipping the channels and Coming to America's on, I stop what I'm doing and watch the movie. It's probably my favorite comedy of all time. So I have a special place in my heart for Coming to America.
That's very hard, isn't it? To distinguish the two movies.
Oh, it's very easy to distinguish them, but it's like if you love something, you're a little more passable if something's just passable.
No, I just meant like, why did they call it Coming to the number 2 America?
Oh, because it's cute. Because there's a 2 in it.
I guess so. I don't know.
I don't know. Someone at Amazon thought it was a good idea.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, Bezos. He's not buying Sony because he's busy.
He just bought a
naming
fleet.
movies.
He just bought a fleet for his divorce. he bought a boat that was so big it needed other boats.
He bought it for the divorce? Wait a minute.
No, for him, well, to celebrate his divorce, to be like, hey, midlife crisis time. Here's my big ass boat. So big it needs 6 other boats to patrol it. Like, I don't know. Perhaps he's turning into Lex Luthor at the end of Justice League.
Perhaps. All right. Well, that is all the news we have this week. And yeah, we don't have a main topic. So I think that's where we're going to put a pin in it for this week. Getting a short one this week, guys. After that marathon interview last week.
That was a marathon interview.
So before we wrap it up, Joey,
Yes.
the bit that I stole from So Wizard, number 1, tell people where they can find So Wizard. And you have any recommendations for our audience?
Of course. Well, the easiest way to find us is at sowizardpodcast.com, where you'll find links to all our social media accounts on the right-hand side of the page, except for TikTok. I don't think we've added a badge for that yet. So follow us on TikTok also. And we're on YouTube with supplemental content to the podcast. We have our podcast every week, which is on Amazon Music and Apple and Spotify, anywhere under the sun you find podcasts. We're there. So check us out. Weekly movie reviews with a nerdy little bent to them. So come and check it out. Recommendation, I will say check out Castlevania on Netflix. It's fantastic. It's an animated adaptation of a couple of the Castlevania games. You don't really need to have played the games to enjoy it, but it's great. It's awesome. Season 4 just came out this past week. I watched all of it in a day and a half, and it's done now. That was the end of that series. There'll be more, but it'll be different characters. But yeah, it's great. And the first season is only 4 episodes, and they're 20 minutes long. It was originally made for not TV, but direct-to-video animated movie. They cut up into a season, and it was so popular they expanded upon it. So you can watch the first season in about the span of time it would take you to watch a movie. So check it out. Castlevania on Netflix is awesome.
Cool. JD?
I just finished Later by Stephen King. It's his latest book, and it's not my favorite Stephen King book, but if you enjoy Stephen King's work, you know that he very frequently will put in Easter eggs to some of his other stuff. And this is no different. It's a story of a kid who very sixth sensey. He can talk to dead people. Like he talks to like ghosts, like fresh ghosts, like right after they die, the kid can communicate with them. And it leads to a more of a thriller type of story than a horror story. It's a nice little cat and mouse game. It takes a while to get started, but it's a short read. And there's enough little winks and nods to his other work that it made it enjoyable. It's only like 350 pages, something like that. It's a very, very short read, very easy, pretty good, pretty enjoyable. Not my favorite, but mediocre Stephen King is still better than 90% of what's on the market. So,
yeah. Okay, cool. And we didn't talk about this. Your Kickstarter's over.
Oh yeah, ended a week ago. We funded at 328%. So
awesome. And
right, most backed campaign I've ever ran.
And when can people expect their books? Who backed you?
June.
Okay.
June, as clearly stated on said website.
Oh, I didn't read.
That's what legally speaking, I put the things there to avoid the questions. But yeah, no, I just got back the notes from the editor for the last book. So it's I have a correction team. I have a bunch of people read the books to find the last little typos and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So once I get the last book back, the order goes in, because I haven't gotten the money yet. It takes about 2 weeks to get your money back from Amazon before it hits my account. So as soon as I get that money in my account, then I can place the order to print the books, and then they can go get shipped. So
you want to hire someone to find mistakes in your grammar and your spelling? Hire my daughter. She's a grammar Nazi.
Those people are invaluable, let me tell you.
Oh God.
They're annoying, but they're so invaluable though, because like you don't want to be. I've been the dork that has a couple typos, and you're like, oh man, you got to eat it. So now that I got some more money behind what I'm doing, I can hire people. I got a new editor who's actually really good. So I had some really good notes on these last 2 books, and my ARC team, because again, you give these guys free books, and then they review your books, and reviews are critical on Amazon. So
yeah. All right, cool. Well,
what are you going to recommend? What are you recommending?
You stole my thunder.
I did it on purpose.
Goodness, keep stepping on me. That's John's job.
Someone has to pick up the slack when O'Grady isn't here.
Well, I will recommend that people head on to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to our social media at the top of the page. And comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. There are 2 going up this week. And recommendation. I actually, like I said, I actually didn't do much, but was busy with like stuff this week, so I didn't do anything new. I would recommend you check out, if you like our show, go listen to So Wizard, because you'll love those guys. They're just as nerdy as us. They review a movie every week, or sometimes a TV show, but usually a movie, and it's a lot of fun. And of course, I think we've had everyone, but we have had Mark and Joey on. We have not had Aubrey yet. Audrey. Why don't I say my niece is Audrey? So yeah, but she's shy. We'll have her eventually. But yes, check out So Wizard, and you will not be disappointed. And on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for hanging out. And don't let your cake be caught in the door. Have a good week.